All right, we are recording. So, most of you know who Leslie is. You've seen her in the team page and you've seen her awesome posts. I asked Leslie to host this call specifically because I feel like this is an area that she's really strong in. And I feel like she has a lot of awesome tips and feedback to give everybody. So I wanted to kind of tell you guys a little bit about Leslie, and then I'll let her tell you her whole story. But I just wanted to point out that so I met Leslie. She was a challenger under me, and she was actually a referral from somebody. So she was a challenger under me. And then I remember the first time we really talked about her signing up as a coach, and we sat at Panera and we talked about it. And she was super hesitant, like not in a bad way, but she was hesitant. So then she ends up signing up as a coach. It takes her a little while to really gain that confidence and come out of her shell. But one thing she did is she became a challenger first. So I wanted to really point out that Leslie was a product of the product first, and she got results first. And that's not to say that you can't jump in and become a challenger and a coach at the same time, because I did that. I became both at once. But I think in order to run good challenge groups, it's important that you find that yourself first and you become a product of the product yourself first, and you see your own results first. So anyways, I saw this huge transition in Leslie, from obviously being her upline through this whole time and watching her go through everything. And it was like when she finally had that switch and made that decision, she went all in, and it was like, boom, she just took off. And I saw this crazy transition, and her challenge groups are just freaking killer. Like, her girls show up every day. I'm always seeing stuff about her girls on Facebook. Like, it's just a really great environment. So I asked Leslie to come on here and talk to you guys and share with you guys some of what she does and how she got to that point. So I'll go ahead and mute myself and let you take over, Leslie.
Okay, so let me see if I can get my slides to share. Okay. Let's see here. I have slides. I prepared slides because I wanted to show you guys like fully like what I was doing, and it makes it a lot easier for myself. Let's see. How's that? It's not the right slide, but
it looks good.
Good?
Yep.
Okay, so hi everybody. Thank you for hopping on the call. I'm really excited. This is my first call. I'm like a little bit nervous, but I'm really excited to share my journey with you guys and just hopefully give you some advice and just help you out in the long run. So tonight, my goal is to give you guys some tips on running effective challenge groups so that your challengers stay engaged, get amazing results, and keep on coming back. But first, I sort of want to just share like where I was when I first started coaching, what my challenge groups looked like in the beginning, and how I finally overcame like my own insecurities and started rocking my own challenge groups and just being myself. Okay. So in the beginning, I was a totally different person than I am today. I had severe social anxiety. The thought of posting a video or going live would literally paralyze me. And I'm not over exaggerating, guys. Like, it would literally paralyze me. The thought of getting on one of these team calls, like, I would dread team calls just because I would be scared that someone would speak directly to me and I would have to respond. Like, it made me almost want to like pass out. Like, it just terrified me. I was so consumed with fear, like it ran my life. And I'm just telling you guys this so you can sort of see like where my mindset was, and just like it wasn't a good place. So it took me a little while to run my very first challenge group. And when I did decide to run my first group, I didn't have very many people interested. I wasn't talking about my journey on Facebook at this point consistently. I wasn't sharing about my personal results I had gotten. I wasn't doing any of the vital behaviors, at least like not in a consistent manner. So I hadn't attracted any customers really at this point. So my very first group consisted of my mom's best friend, and then my mom's best friend's friend, and then my best friend. So that group was just kind of okay. At that point, I had a lot of disbelief in myself as a leader, and it was really apparent. When I would create any content for any of my groups, I would either take it directly from Stephanie, like I would do it myself, but I was not sharing my personality. There was no video. It was always text. It was nothing personal. It was really like super generic and basic posts. So the whole atmosphere of the group was kind of serious, kind of boring, like super low energy. And don't get me wrong, like the challenge group, like it was great because my challengers, they had each other to lean on through their programs, but I wasn't creating an experience that would be worth sharing about or keep them coming back to me because of the exciting and fun atmosphere that I was creating. So I continued what I was doing for like the next 3 challenge groups, and I wasn't gaining any traction. And to be honest, like I wasn't having fun. And I was super stressed out because I barely had any customers. My mom quit. My mom's friend quit. My best friend quit after like a few groups. And it was just like, it was a really rough spot at that point. Hold on, let me. Okay. So I had to take a step back and seriously look at what I was doing. And I had to look at why it was happening. And I think it's pretty apparent, like when I look back now, but at that point, like I had no clue. And it was just like, it was super frustrating for me at that point. So I had no idea why so many other people around me were doing so well. And there it was for months, like no new customers, not a lot of progress. I was feeling sorry for myself, and placing blame in every place that I could place blame except for on myself. And if you guys see in that picture, like a whole lot of zeros. And it got to me. So I started to doubt myself. I started to doubt the business because, you know, it was Beachbody's fault that I wasn't doing well. And I started to really second guess myself and why I was even doing what I was doing. I felt like at that point, like I wasn't helping people. I wasn't making any money. Like, what was I even doing? Like, I just kept asking myself, like, what am I doing? So I think it was on a team call that I had this moment where I was just listening to everyone talk. And they were talking about how their lives were so different and how they truly wholeheartedly believed in Beachbody and what it does for people and how blessed they felt, and that you could tell like you could tell that they were so, how do I describe it, like in it, and they truly believed in what they had to offer, both the products and the coaching opportunity. So I had to like take a step back and like have a sit down with myself, and I had to ask myself a few questions, like, did I believe in this company? Did I believe in the products 100%? Was I even using them? Like, did I believe in myself? And guys, the answer was no, like to all of that, 100% no. So I realized that with the help of everybody on this team, like at that time, like everybody was really pushing me and motivating me. I had to make some serious changes if I was ever going to see like any type of success in this business. And that includes running successful challenge groups. So I remember talking to Stephanie on a call, and she like just straight up said to me, like, when's the last time you did a program full out? And guys, it was like months. Like I did 21 days fix 2 times full out before I was a coach. But when I became a coach, I just sort of like started dabbling around, and I wasn't like committing to anything. And she was 100% right. Like, you need to find that belief in yourself and in the product before you can genuinely and authentically share anything with others. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, that is absolutely going to come across in your posts, in your invite, in your tone when you're talking to people. So I decided at that point that I was going to go all in. I decided to pick a program. I picked P90X3, and I was going to openly share my journey on my page, because at that point, I wasn't posting consistently. And I definitely wasn't sharing anything about Beachbody, like maybe a sweaty selfie here and there. But I decided that I was going to be more vulnerable, and I was going to let people see like the real me, not some perfect highlight reel that I was creating, which I was really good at doing, because I was really scared to like let people in. I wanted people to know that I'm loud, I'm goofy, I'm a nerd, I like being silly, and none of that was coming across or being conveyed like at all, like 0% on my social media platform or in my challenge groups. So at this point, my groups were even smaller than when I had first started with 4 challengers. I was now down to like 1 to 2 challengers. So I started to share more openly on my Facebook page, because that's the platform I was using. And I told myself that I needed to force myself to get out of my comfort zone weekly. I also decided that I was going to start sharing more openly in my challenge groups and really show up like 100%, even if that meant just for myself or 1 to 2 people, depending on the month. I needed to be the #1 challenger in the group. I needed to be setting the example. Like, I needed to be freaking excited about changing my life, so they were too. You can post results all day, but if there's no fun or like genuine excitement, it's really hard to keep people engaged. Okay, so another thing that I started to change was how I was posting. I wanted to be able to convey to people like my excitement with my face or like with what I was doing. And for a while, I would just post a sweaty selfie or like a good old thumbs up, got it done type of picture, like as you can see in my older posts here. And I have to tell you guys, like, I definitely didn't just magically get confidence and change my mindset overnight. I had to work at it. I was reading my personal development daily. I was watching trainings daily. I was pushing myself to start speaking in video, which I freaking hated. Like, I hated it. But I did it, and I finally worked up the nerve to go live in one of my challenge groups. Now, don't get me wrong. I totally downloaded a teleprompter app, and I wrote every single thing out that I was going to say, and I read it from that teleprompter on live video. So it looked like I knew what I was doing, but I was totally terrified, and it was just like, it was awful. It was an awful experience for me, but it got me out of my comfort zone, and it got me practice, and I counted that as a small win and like a baby step to where I wanted to go. I pushed myself even further outside of my comfort zone and got more comfortable and confident in what I was doing. And I started attracting more interest, and I started to notice a lot more interaction like in my groups. I noticed this shift in my business and my challenge groups when I really started to like just embrace who I was. When I started to share openly, when I started to believe in myself, and when I started like consistently doing the vital behaviors. Like, I know you guys hear that, but it's so true. So trust me, like, this took me a hot minute to get it together. But the more I dug in, the more I started to notice not only was I taking myself more seriously as a leader and believing in my own capabilities, but so were my customers. Okay, so back to my challenge groups, I went from asking my challengers to complete daily tasks to showing them what I wanted them to do. I started leading from the front and I started to have fun. Like I stopped constantly wondering what would happen if I messed up, or what will they think of me if I mess up a live video? And I shifted my focus to them. Like I took the focus off of me and I put it onto my challengers. Like I started asking myself, what can I share that will help these women? What can I do to provide value for my challengers? How and what can I do to make this experience like one to remember? And I seriously remember having this moment where I was like, Leslie, get over yourself. No one cares that much. No one cares if you mess up. No one cares if you fall over. No one cares if you stutter. Like imperfection is relatable. And I learned quickly that the more relatable I was, the bigger impact I had. Okay. So I just want to give you guys some tips now on how I really get my challenge groups going and how I keep my customers on track and I keep them coming back on a month-to-month basis. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about and that I think is super important is consistency. You have to show up every single day and not only show like that you're putting in the work, but you also have to show up to cheer your girls on too. You can't leave anybody hanging ever. So what I like to do is I type out my daily posts the night before and schedule them to be posted the following morning at 5 a.m. The reason I do that that early is because I have early birds and I want everyone to be able to see the post when they wake up. And by doing it this way, when I wake up, I can just focus on checking into the group and cheering people on and making sure everyone is on track. I also create 2 other posts, so 3 total posts for the day. One is a designated spot to post your sweaty selfies, and the other is a designated spot to post like your food, shakes, and water. Not only does this keep the group clean, but it keeps it organized while also giving your challengers a place to be held accountable on all counts, like not just their workouts, but their nutrition as well, because that is just as important. And it also is important for you guys to be completing these tasks yourself. You have to be posting your sweaty selfies and you have to be posting your food throughout the day if you expect your challengers to do the same thing. That post on the far left, it was just like a tag Tuesday. It was just like something really fun that we did, which I'm going to get to in my next slide. And then these are examples from my 2 posts that I posted today. Like I said, like I like to have a place where people, like when they wake up in the morning, they know that that post is going to be there and they know that they have a place to post their sweaty selfies and their food. So by what is it? Timing it out and by posting it the night before, it gives them that consistency to know that it's there that next day. Okay. So you don't want your challengers to think of you as like this perfect person who doesn't mess up and has it all together and like planks are easy and you can do 100 push-ups without breaking a sweat. No, like you want to be relatable. So you want them to see you pushing through your struggles and overcoming obstacles and working your butt off. So always share like what you're going through and ask your challengers to do the same. And they will if you are. Okay, so one of the first times I went live in one of my groups, like I freaked out. I totally panicked. I started like rambling. I was getting sweaty and I literally was just like freaking out and like freezing in front of these girls who like looked up to me and it was awful. So I sort of like stopped. I took a breath and I just told the girls how terrified I was of live video, like on the live video. And instantly they were like, "Oh my gosh, you always seem so confident. We never would have thought you have like a public speaking fear." And then they were like, right then, they were just like rooting me on. And it was a perfect moment where they helped me grow a little through one of my fears. And then we became closer and started creating this genuine friendship. And by me sharing and like opening up, it led to many more instances from myself and from my challengers opening up and either sharing and asking for help or just being honest. And that makes everything so much better, so much more genuine, and it just feels real. And the reason I am sharing this picture, because this is one of my challengers, Shane. She, in the beginning, she didn't share anything in any of my challenge groups, and she started getting more comfortable. And this last group, like, she is totally just like sharing everything. This is a post from her. She lost 32 pounds. And it's just like, it's crazy to see the transition in your challengers, like, when you are also changing yourself. Like, it's a domino effect. Like, as you're changing, they're changing, and you guys do it together. And it's really awesome if you commit to it. So I feel like creating a community, I feel like this piggybacks off of like what I was just talking about. When you start to open up, so do your challengers, and it becomes more than just like this group that you check into and post some pictures. It really becomes like a second family. One activity that I really love, we do it in like week 2. So in like week 2 of our challenge group, after everyone sort of gets like a feel for each other, and we call it Wow You Rock Wednesday. And basically, you have your girls tag someone in the group and tell them why they rock. This is something that brings everyone together. It makes everyone's day better because you're getting compliments, and it's just a great friendship builder, especially if you get a compliment from someone like you don't normally talk to in the group. It opens the door like to continue rooting each other on and to like build on that friendship. All these pictures are just like examples from the last time we did the Wow You Rock Wednesday. Just people rooting each other on and like creating these awesome posts, and it's just really great. We also make sure that we comment on every single post, every single sweaty selfie, any question, all of it. And what's really cool is now that I've been staying consistent with that, some of my older challengers have also followed suit. So now they comment on everyone's stuff. And when the new people come in, they see them commenting on stuff. And it gets everybody just like interacting with each other. And it creates this domino effect. So it's just really cool to see it all unfold. But it takes consistency and it takes time. My overall biggest tip for creating community is just to show like that you care. And you do that by showing up daily for your challengers, participating, and just sharing openly and honestly. Another thing that I have noticed that has changed a lot in my groups from the beginning stages is having fun. I know in the beginning I didn't have a lot of fun. I was so focused on what everyone was thinking of me, and I wasn't thinking about my challengers. I was thinking about myself and how nervous I was. And so now I make sure to have fun. Not every single post has to be a motivational quote or a recipe. And while those are great, these groups are usually at least 3 weeks long, so you have to kind of get creative. In my groups, I love playing games like Tag or Simon Says. That might sound silly, but it's funny to see like what everyone will do, and it gives everyone a chance to just like loosen up and be themselves. Like we literally just did a Tag Tuesday. I was talking about that a minute ago, and everyone had a blast. They were completing their challenges, interacting with each other, and it was seriously like hilarious seeing what some of the girls came up with. Another silly challenge that we do is making them do 5 squats every time before they go pee. It's something super silly, and I tell them to post a picture once they do their squats, and it gets like super comfortable up in the group because we have like a ton of bathroom selfies. And I'm not saying like that you guys have to do this, but it's just a fun way to like mix things up, get people like comfortable with one another, and it gets everyone having a good laugh, and it like puts you at ease like in this group. This group is supposed to be like a safe place. You're supposed to be having fun, and you know what I mean? Like you guys are with each other every single day. So a great thing about the groups is that they're yours. So you can do anything you want. You just have to have a good time and know that you're making a huge difference in someone's life. That picture right there with the Taylor Swift is from the Tag Tuesday. I tagged one of the girls, and I know she's a good singer, so I told her to do a plank and sing any Taylor Swift song for like 30 seconds, and she did it, and it was awesome. And some of the other girls were like doing squats and wall sits and cartwheels. Like it got a little out of control, I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun because we're used to each other and we had a good time. And then I decided randomly today in that top right picture that I was going to go live in the group and I was going to take a shot of Energize out of the tub because I've seen other coaches do it and I thought they were crazy. And I was like, this should be interesting. I'm going to do it in the group because I had noticed a couple of my challengers talking about it. And I'm like, I'm just going to make this fun and I'm going to do it and see what happens with them. And luckily I didn't like choke on it or anything, but it was funny. And like, we were all interacting, we were all talking this morning, and it was just like, it's a great way to get you guys feeling comfortable, like with your challengers. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is celebrating your challengers and their hard work. People like to be recognized, especially when they're putting in like a ton of work and they're putting their all into changing their lifestyle, creating healthier habits, not only for themselves but for their family. So what we like to do in our group is create a point system. So every daily challenge has points attached to it, and if they complete that challenge, they get points for the day. And those points go towards a final grand prize at the end. It can be any kind of prize that you guys want if you want to do prizes. We usually do like a tub of Energize or a performance sampler or like whatever we're feeling that month. And each week we start with a clean slate. So nobody gets discouraged if they had like a bad week the week prior or anything like that. And at the end, we decide who wins based not only on points, but also participation. And I don't know if you guys see Devin on here, but she runs these groups with me. So that's why I keep saying we. Like, we get together at the end and we decide, like, okay, who put in everything that they had? Like, who participated? Who rooted, their girls on? Like, who was in there every single day doing everything, not just the challenges, but posting their sweaty selfies, making sure they were eating right, like their nutrition was on point. You know what I mean? Showing up for somebody who's having a hard day, like stuff like that. Like everything counts at the end. And we also do a challenger spotlight every week. So this is like a shout out for our top performing challenger that week. And sometimes we have multiples, as you can see in that photo. But it's all about giving credit to those who are seriously putting in that effort. I also will tag them on my main page. I ask them, of course, first for their permission, and then I'll shout them out. And this gets their friends seeing what they're doing, and it allows for even more people to root them on and get them excited for their accomplishments. And this will keep them going. Like, this keeps people excited, it keeps them going, and it keeps them coming back and wanting to like continue on that next month with you. And at the end of the day, I just want to tell you guys, like, just be yourself, share openly and authentically, lift up your challengers, and be grateful and excited that you get to change lives for a living. And this is something that what is that quote? It's like, oh, this wasn't a part of my plan, but it's an unexamined life is not worth living. If you don't sit back and think about what you're doing and really be grateful for like what you're doing and everything that's going on, like, it's just not worth it. And I was living out of fear, and I was like overcome with anxiety, and I wasn't actually taking in the moments, and I wasn't realizing like that I was helping women change their lives. And I let everything else just overcome that. So I want you guys to just try to be present and be grateful and just be excited. And this is the last thing. I think I might have talked really fast. I don't know how long this has taken. But so this is a success story that I wanted to share with you guys. This is my grandma. That quote says, limitations only exist if you let them. She started at 196 pounds. She was watching me. She watched me forever. And then she finally decided to join me in one of my challenge groups. My grandma's 69 years old, by the way. And in 4 months, she lost 40 pounds. Like, she went all in. She was drinking her shakes every day. And it was just awesome to watch her transition, and she has totally changed her life, and I'm just like really super proud of her. So Stephanie, I just talked really fast about that.
That's all right, because I have a few things I want to say and a couple questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
So first of all, you freaking killed it for your first team call. I'm like, when is she going to mess up? But a couple of things that I want to touch on is I really like how Leslie said at the end to be grateful that we get to change lives, because this is something that I've been reflecting on a lot lately. And you guys kind of know I kind of touched on it on my last team call. But I feel like when we've been doing this for a little while, we kind of get into routine. And so it becomes routine, and it can kind of become like the same old like hustle and bustle, almost to a point where it's like you almost become like robotic with coaching, and you kind of start to take the emotions out of it, and you just start to go through the notions. And when you do that, you lose the excitement and you lose the passion, and it really becomes selfish in a way. And I don't think we do it to be selfish, but it's like we almost sit back and we forget like the difference that we can make, or we forget like the effort that these girls are putting in, or the things that they're changing. And so do what you got to do to find that passion again. And I know, sometimes it's easier said than done, but really take some time to sit back and reflect, because at the end of the day, when you have that passion and that excitement and you bring that into your challenge groups, that's going to affect the whole atmosphere of the challenge group. I mean, think about how people feed off of other people's energy. So think about if you are to walk into a room where people are just freaking happy and excited, it's going to be hard to feel like crappy, like naturally you're going to feel kind of happy and excited. If you walk into a room where like everybody's like moping or sad or whatever, it's going to be hard for you to be happy or excited. So just think about when you walk into your challenge group, what is the vibe that you're putting off in your challenge group? And I know that every day when Leslie goes into her challenge group, she freaking puts out that excitement. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure she has days where she's real, and she shares with them if she's having bad times, but she shares that passion in her groups, and people feed off of that. They feed off of that energy. It reminds me of that quote that says, you are responsible for the energy that you bring to the room. So think about that with your challenge groups. You're responsible for the energy that you bring to your challenge groups. So if you feel like your challenge groups suck, you have to take some responsibility for that. And this was something I was guilty of, because trust me, guys, when you've been coaching for 5 years, you got to figure out how to switch things up, because the same old isn't going to be exciting 5 years down the road. It's not going to be exciting for you. It's not going to be exciting for your challengers. And there's been challenge groups that have flat out sucked. And in my head, I'm like, these girls are just not showing up and they're not doing anything, like nobody's doing anything. It's not my fault. I'm here. I'm showing up. No, it doesn't work that way. You are in charge. You're responsible for the energy in your challenge groups. So you got to figure out what you got to do to get that passion and that excitement back. And I really liked how Leslie pointed out to be the #1 challenger in the group. And this is something else that I feel like we kind of just take with a grain of salt sometimes. Like, I'm kind of having an off month. It's cool if, I don't totally follow my plan or do what I'm supposed to do, but I'm going to tell my girls to, and then I'm going to expect them to be excited about it. And people are going to mimic what you do. It's the same thing with your challenge groups and with your team. They're going to do what you're doing, okay? You can't tell them, do as I say, not as I do, right? They're going to mimic what you do, just like they're going to mimic what the trainer on their TV does, okay? So make sure that you're showing up. And that's not to say that we're not going to have off days or we're not going to have bad days. That's totally normal, and I think our challengers expect that. But you also have to realize if you have an off month or an off 6 months, that's going to affect your challenge group, whether you want to take responsibility for it or not. And then the other thing that I really liked that she pointed out is to be their friend. And this is something that I have found to be true in my challenge groups as well. I go into my challenge groups all different forms of stuff. I go in there sometimes when I am like homeless looking in Tyler's outfits, and I'm not kidding you guys. If you have hung out with me or know me on a personal level, I get pretty homely looking sometimes. And I don't care, you know, it's a private group. These girls aren't going to judge me. They don't freaking care what I look like. And that's not what I'm there for anyways. I'm not there to impress these girls. I'm there to be in it with these girls and be their friend. And at the end of the day, majority of my challengers, they're on a friendship level with me. They can talk to me about life. And I know, Leslie, it's the same way with you. You know, they can come to us like a friend and they feel that friendship. And that's important in your challenge groups. You want to create that community. That's what you want to create within your challenge groups. And then be confident as a coach. This is another thing that I had to learn, and it took me a little while. Be confident in the fact that you are a coach and you know what you're doing, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a freaking personal trainer. It doesn't matter if you're exactly where you want to be on your journey. It doesn't matter if you know a ton about nutrition. Those girls, that's not what they're there for. They're there for the accountability. Of course, they need to be able to ask you questions, you know, but you always have access to the answer. You don't need to be the expert. There are experts out there. So you don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. But they're in there because they want your energy and they want your accountability and they want to see that you're doing it too. And you are awesome and you have something awesome to offer these people. So be confident in your ability to be a coach and let that shine through into your challenge groups. Don't walk into your challenge group like the kid with their head down in the classroom. Walk into your challenge groups like the leader that you are, the coach that you are, and you lead that group, okay? And make sure that you're bringing that energy and having fun like Leslie talked about. Like we said, you know, the energy in the group is super important. So, Leslie, I had a couple questions I wanted to ask you. I thought I had two, but I only wrote one down. So I wanted to ask, because I know that a lot of girls have asked me this and some might know. What do you use to schedule your posts? Can you kind of walk through how you do that?
Okay, so when you are going, like pretend like you're going to type up a post in your group. When you start typing, a little clock will pop up at the bottom, like where you hit send, and you'll see it. So you'll just type up your post that you want to do, put a picture in if you want to, and then you click on that little clock. And when you click on the clock, it will pull up a calendar. You pick the date that you want it to schedule and the time, and then you just hit schedule. It's really simple.
Okay, and do you have to do it? Do you have to do it from a computer, or can you do it from a phone?
You have to do it from a computer. You cannot do it from your phone. I don't know why, but it has to be from the computer.
Okay. I do bet, though, I haven't checked. I asked that question knowing the answer, but I wanted you to answer it. But I have not checked. But I bet if you did it from your phone, but you logged in like a browser. So I don't know if you guys know that you can do this. But so like on your phone, instead of logging in through the Facebook app, what you would do is you would like go to Safari or the internet, and you would actually go to like facebook.com and you would log in like you're on a computer browser. And I haven't. Yeah, actually, let me see if that works. Because I bet you would be able to do it this way. Because if you guys are like me, I do everything from my phone.
This would be life-changing.
All right, so let's see. Let me try the team page.
So many people use mobile. I wonder why that's not like an option yet.
I know. I am so not used to this. Hold on. Image Facebook logout. All right. Let's see if it works. Post.
This is taking too long for me to even get on.
I am not seeing it.
Okay, so it probably doesn't work.
Probably doesn't. I'll play around with it more tonight and let you guys know, because it almost looks like my phone is logged in on mobile mode for some reason.
I can do it from my iPad.
See, and if you can do it from your iPad, you should be able to do it from, yeah, because I tried it in the team page. I'll play around with that more and I'll let you guys know. I'll post in the team page if I figure out how to do it. Okay. But the other thing I was going to ask you, Leslie, is, so how do you kind of take what's in your challenge group and kind of transition it onto your personal page? Like, what are some of the things that you share like publicly about your challenge groups on your personal page that you feel is like beneficial?
I definitely share my challenger spotlights. I'll ask them privately first if they mind, because some of them come into the challenge group wanting it to be private, and that's like their safe space. So always check with your challengers. But if you share a spotlight on your page, not only does that benefit your challenger, but it also benefits you, because people are seeing like these girls making progress in your groups, and it gives yourself more credibility. But it also allows for like their family members and their friends to like see what they're doing and root them on, and it gives them that much more confidence to like keep going. I think like what else I share. If we do something funny, I'll share it on my page, just so like I'm trying to give my audience like an idea of what my challenge groups are about, and so I'll share like if we're doing like a funny challenge that day, and I'll bring it onto my Facebook page, and sometimes I'll even ask like my followers to do the same thing. If it's like I don't know, like a squat Saturday challenge or something, I'll ask my challengers to do it, and I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, so like something to think about like is you want people to like be intrigued by your groups. And one thing I try to think about is like, okay, if I think about this when I'm running any group, whether it be like a free group, my challenge group, whatever. If I was going to enter this group, what would intrigue me? Like, what would attract me to that group? And then I also think about like, once I'm in this group, what do I want this group to be like? You know, so if I walk into a group and it's like totally crappy energy and like no good information, I'm probably going to be like, okay, well, this is a waste of my time. I'm not going to be checking into this every day. So what is going to be like valuable to me?
Right.
You know, and what do I want to see in the group? Because the people that you attract to your challenge groups are going to be a lot like you. So the things that you find valuable are going to be valuable to them. So like for me, it's like, I don't like, let me tell you, I have not logged on to Fixate once, because I know for a fact I won't do the recipes because I don't like to make recipes that require me to think. Like, I hate that. So for me, I'm like, all right. And it's funny because I attract a lot of girls that are like that. They're like, okay, tell me to put like cucumbers with vinegar and toast and I'll do it because it's simple. So like for me, I've been sharing a lot of like here's exactly what I ate all day today. And it's short and sweet and simple and stupid, but they find it so helpful because they're like me in that aspect. So think about the things that like you want to see, and you know what is going to be helpful to you. And then something else that I'm going to do that I wanted to share with you guys on this call, and I'm sure Leslie does some type of like referral stuff too, but actually, like I said in the beginning of the call, I wanted to point out to you guys that Leslie was actually a referral. So way back when I ran a challenge group, and I don't even remember exactly how I did it, but I offered my challengers some type of referral system. And at that time, I don't remember what it was, but they could either sign the people up under them or they could refer somebody to me. And so one of my challengers at the time actually ended up referring Leslie to me as a challenger. So don't ever like tell yourself that the referral systems don't work at all, because look at here we are now today. She's a freaking amazing coach. So anyway, something that I'm going to do in my challenge group. So my challenge group that's going on right now, we have a mixture of people. Majority of people are doing 80-day obsession, and then we have a few that are just doing like 21-day fix or something along those lines. So most of us are on day 10 of 80-day obsession, right? That's where we're all at. Most of us started on the 15th. So what I'm going to do within the next few days is I'm going to go live. Like I go live in my group a lot and just kind of talk to them, kind of like Autumn does in the coach test group. If you guys are in the coach test group, that's a good example of what to do in your challenge group. So I'm going to go live and I'm going to present it to them like with 80-day obsession. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them an opportunity to bring somebody into the challenge group with them. And how I'm going to present it is I'm going to say, okay, so we're all going to be entering phase 2 of 80-day obsession. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to bring somebody in with you, and we're going to mentor them through phase 1. So as we're all going through phase 2, we're going to be mentoring them through phase 1. So here's how it's going to work. Either we're going to get them signed up under you and make you their coach, and I will mentor them with you as their coach, or you can have them sign up under me, or like, okay, like, so for example, if Jessica's in my group and she has a challenger under her, and that girl's challenger doesn't want to sign up under Jessica's girl, then we'll put her under Jessica. So basically either they can sign the person up and make themselves a coach, or they can refer the person to their direct upline coach. And I'm going to present it to them like that and let them know that, like, why would you want to do this? Okay, well, you're going to want to do this because, first of all, this challenge group kicks ass. Like, why wouldn't you want to bring people in here? Second of all, who doesn't want to work out and go through this with a friend who's going to understand? So you're not going to be doing it alone. Like, you're going to actually be doing it with somebody you know on like a super personal level now. And then on top of that, people are seeing your results. They're asking questions. Don't you want to sign them up and help them? Or if you don't want to sign them up under you, don't you still want to bring people in to do this? Because it's awesome and you love it. So I'm going to offer that idea to them. And then, you know, it's like you're setting it up like, here, you have this group that is valuable. This challenge group is valuable. And I'm offering you the opportunity to bring somebody in with you. And you can either put them under you or you can give them to me. That's totally up to you. And then that way it gives, first of all, it gives you the referral system, but it also gives them an opportunity to commit to coaching without even freaking realizing that they're committing to coaching. Like, it sets that transition to not make it so scary. And without realizing it, that's exactly what coaching is about. But if you were to go to them and say, hey, you know, I think you should sign up as a coach, and then you should go get your friends to join you. If you present it to them that way, they might be like, oh no, like, I'm not doing coaching. But if you present it to them like, hey, I want you to bring some people into our group with you because our group's awesome. And why don't we go ahead and get them signed up under you, and then I'll mentor them with you. So you won't be doing it alone. It kind of makes that transition like a little less scary and not so freaking serious, like, you know, because people, they tend to freak out if you're like, oh, a coach business, you know. So that's like another way that you can kind of present the coaching opportunity while also like doing the referral system. And of course, that's only really going to work like good if your challenge group is good. If you have a challenge group that's like a total dud and nobody's posting, it's going to be kind of hard to be like, hey, like, let's bring some people in here. Although, I mean, you could always bring people in and recreate the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. But the last thing I want to say, and Leslie, you can wrap up anything you want to wrap up, but if you guys have a crappy challenge group, it happens. Like, it is a system that you have to figure out. Like I said, it's something that you have to revamp as you go, the longer you've been doing it. There's some months where maybe we're not on our game. I can tell you guys, last year, was a dud for me. The majority of the year was a really crappy, hard time in my life. And so it was really hard to show up in a group and bring motivation. And I did the best I could, but it just was what it was in the moment. And I had to do what I could and move on. And then as soon as I got past that, I dove back in and I made my challenge groups awesome. So if your challenge groups have been kind of not what you want them to be, don't be like, oh, like I just suck at this and I'm a bad coach. I'm never going to be able to run a good challenge group. That's not true. You always have the opportunity to revamp it and make it better. And the other thing is too, don't feel like if you have challengers that have been with you and they've been in your crappy groups, don't feel like, oh my gosh, these people are like never going to take me seriously and they're never going to like my groups. I have girls that have been with me from the beginning and they've been in good challenge groups and they've been in awful challenge groups. And they'll tell me, Steph, this challenge group is awesome. I love it. Like this one's kicking butt right now, you know? And then some of them will tell me sometimes too, hey, Steph, your challenge group sucks. What's going on? And so don't feel like they're going to like look down on you and never want to join a challenge group again. Just keep them on the train with you. Make them your friend, be their friend, and keep going through it with them. And then they'll see that transition that you make. So just dive in and don't be afraid to just, you know, play around with things and figure out what works for you, because one thing that works for somebody else might not work for you, you know? So is there anything else you want to say? Wrap up, Leslie. I think you pretty much covered it since you did all the talking.
No, I feel like that's good. I feel like your challenge groups change as you change, like just what you were saying. So I feel like just have fun with it and I don't know, just keep going and keep working at it, and that's it really.
Yeah, I feel like those are the main things. Finding the consistency, keeping the positive attitude, bringing the energy, being real, you know, just going with the flow and doing what feels right. So does anybody have any questions or anything for Leslie? Well, I think we pretty much covered everything. All right. Well, thank you, Leslie. That was awesome. And I am going to get the recording posted tonight, hopefully. If not tonight, tomorrow. So if you guys have anybody that wanted to listen to it, you'll be able to send it to them. And next week, we are going to do a call. I'm going to do a call all about income. So that should be fun. That'll be a good one. So, all right, ladies, you guys have a good night. Leslie, I'm going to close out of this, and then I'll send you a link to get back on a different call.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night, ladies.
Good night, everybody.